Thank you, Lucas. That was beautiful. Good afternoon and welcome everyone to the Buffalo Unitarian Universalist Church. I'm the Reverend Susan Frawley, and it is my honor and privilege to be in the pulpit today and to officiate today's celebration of the life of Mary Szczepanski. Just a little housekeeping, if you need, our lavatories are located on the other side of our fellowship hall, and please be comfortable and present as you are here today. Our opening words today come, and they were chosen by Kirsten, by Christina Rossetti, and Christina writes, "Remember me when I am gone away, gone far away into the silent land, when you can no more hold me by the hand, nor I half turn to go yet turning stay, Remember me when no more day by day you tell me of our future that you planned. Only remember me. You understand it will be too late to counsel then or pray. Yet if you should forget me for a while, and afterwards remember, do not grieve, for it is if the darkness and corruption leave a vestige of the thoughts that once I had, better by far you should forget and smile than you should remember and be sad. I now invite you to find our chalice lighting words in the order of service as you came in, and Kirsten's going to light our chalice. Tried to put a flame over here, but
That's okay. Hard work matches.
And as Kirsten lights our chalice, could we all read together, please, the chalice lighting words? We gather in loving community, creating a shared vision of compassion and dignity for all to radically transform the world in which we live. And if you'd like to remain standing or rise in body or spirit as you be able, we are going to join in hymn number 192, Nay, Do Not Grieve. Lucas is going to play the first couple bars to give us the tune, and then I invite you to sing as you choose. Thank you. Please be seated. It is a daunting task to give a eulogy, to try and encapsulate a life, and to do justice to all the dimensions and branches of who someone is at their root. Mary grew up in North Buffalo, the oldest child in the family, followed by John, Margaret. That's what happens when it moves on tech. And then Anne. Mary was the shepherdess for many of the younger kids in the neighborhood, and she felt responsible for making sure they were safe at play. This set the pattern for her as safety girl, as she referred to herself. She later joined the emergency response team at work and provided first aid to her co-workers. Mary spent almost all of her academic life in Catholic institutions: St. Rose of Lima Elementary School, Sacred Heart Academy, and I know there's alumni here today. Thank you so much for being here to honor her. St. Bonaventure College, which is now St. Bonaventure University, where she studied history, particularly the war years from World War I through the Korean War. Perhaps she was inspired by her father, who was a drill sergeant during the Korean War. Summers during college and then permanently after graduation, Mary worked at General Mills, where her dad worked in the lab, and her mother had worked before she married. She transferred from the Buffalo plant to Toledo for a couple of years when they were laying off workers, but she couldn't wait to return to her beloved Buffalo. In addition to being a Buffalo booster, Mary was a huge sports fan. She could watch just about anything but golf and loved the Sabres, the Bisons, and especially the Buffalo Bills. She would be gratified that Kirsten scheduled this service without conflicting with the game today. Thank you, Kirsten. Mary and her brother John had season's tickets to the Bills for a number of years, and they were pro-level tailgaters. That's a big thing in Buffalo. Mary had a unique style and sense of grace. Mary had a unique sense of style, forgive me. Unique in that she lived in jeans and Henleys or shorts and t-shirts. She developed quite a t-shirt collection, and especially of defunct or the Negro League baseball teams. Oh, and the baseball caps. Kirsten has found over 50 of them, and she has brought them today, so you can take one home with you after the service. Please. You'll see them displayed out in our fellowship hall. They'll also be there with cookies and socializing afterwards. But speaking of Kirsten, Mary met her in an LGBTQ choir 23 years ago. The day they met, Kirsten was waiting for rehearsal to start, and she was lying on the floor due to some back pain. Safety girl came and sat beside her so that no one would step on her. Their first date was July 3rd, the year 2000. They went on a picnic at Niawanda Park and Mississippi Muds, where they sat on the roof. Mary was too nervous to eat more than a bite, and from that day forward, there was never a 24-hour period when they didn't talk. With Mary working nights and Kirsten working days, they had to get creative so that they could find time together. Mary would get off work in the morning and come to Kirsten's house to wake her up, and Kirsten would return the favor after her shift. Now, this was before cell phones were so popular, so the system that they created for Mary to wake Kirsten up was a paint can with nuts and bolts inside that rattled on a string that Mary could tug when she arrived so that Kirsten could throw down the key. Of course, that got old fast, and they decided that Kirsten should move to Mary's house and bring her cats. Mary was a very proud cat mom and posted many, many, many pictures of her babies on social media. Now, speaking of social media, after she retired from General Mills, Mary became quite devoted to political discussions on Twitter. She liked nothing more than arguing her side and scoring internet points against whoever was foolish enough to try to engage with her. Mary loved to sing, whether it was her role as Mother Abbess in The Sound of Music in high school, singing in the choir of this church, or harmonizing to the radio in the car with Kirsten. She sang sweetly and with gusto. Mary also loved the beach. 1 week every summer, she and her sister Anne, and later Kirsten and her mother Edie, would rent a cottage on the lake in Canada. It was a wonderful time to read, swim, play games, and have fun. Mary's job was to grill the chicken and sausages. Mary shared her family's love of games. Her Aunt Alberta taught Mary, Kirsten, John, and Annie to play bridge. And after Alberta passed, the family created a weekly Saturday night date to share a meal and play games. Mary's heart issue was discovered during her pre-op testing for knee replacement, a consequence of 3 decades of work at the plant. With the heart procedure and then surgery on each knee separately, she had to be out of work for a year. Then her father passed away pretty soon after she returned to her job. Mary was late submitting paperwork for leave so that she could grieve her dear father, and the plant fired her. She was devastated. Mary lost her General Mills family and her father all at once, It was a bleak time, but slowly she adjusted. She and Kirsten soon moved from Tonawanda to the west side, where they felt more at home. Mary loved nothing more than to sit on the front porch, listening to baseball games or the 911 scanner, and watching the world go by. She loved her diverse neighborhood. As she said, "It's the United Nations walking down our street." Mary helped Kirsten go back to school to get her Master's of Social Work, supporting her and also paying her tuition. She said it was one of the things that she was proudest of. She told Kirsten that she was doing good in the world. She told her that she was doing good in the world by helping Kirsten help others. That was Mary, generous and caring. When Kirsten's widowed stepbrother in Texas got sick with cancer, he and his kids needed help. Mary said, "Of course you have to go." She sent Kirsten to care for her family. They visited each other as often as possible and talked on the phone every night. Unfortunately, that ordeal lasted 2.5 years, and Kirsten was only able to return this past August. But Mary's love for Kirsten never faltered. Above all, though, above the Queen City and baseball games on the front porch, oops, that's what happens when you move this, excuse me. Pause for a minute for technical issue.
I'm gonna get you a tab.
Huh?
I'm gonna get you a tab.
Yeah, thank you. I had it all set. Hang on. One second. Here we go. Above all, though, above the Queen City and baseball games on the front porch, driving her stick-shift Jeep Wrangler and loading a trailer full of cereal with effortless skill, above games and baseball caps and music, and even above the Buffalo Bills, Mary loved her family. Mary loved her paternal relatives, even though they lived far away. She loved her maternal family, who she collectively referred to as the Canadians, especially her same-age cousin Barb. She loved her mother and father. She revered her father, and loved her aunts Alberta and Kathleen. She loved her siblings. John wasn't just her brother, he was her best friend. She loved her baby sister Annie, even though she acknowledged that Annie had it better put together sometimes than Mary did. Mary was very proud of her sister Margaret and her beautiful family. She loved brother-in-law Dan and his relatives just as much as she loved her own. She was extremely proud of Margaret and Dan's kids, Brian and Rachel, and she told many stories about them to anybody who would listen. When Kirsten joined the family 23 years ago, before marriage was a possibility, Mary loved her family too and helped care for Dolores and Donald in their final illnesses and helped Lizzie, Jimmy, Kevin, and Amara as much as she could. Mary also considered the girls from Damnation Alley in the Bonaventure dorms and her Shea, Sacred Heart Academy classmates, her family, and deeply appreciated reconnecting with the Shea girls in recent years. Personally, I can share that Mary and Kirsten helped me to attend seminary by watching my kids during my absences to Chicago. They were wonderful with Max and Ayla, and sometimes I think Max and Ayla wish that I could stay a little longer at Meadville, just so they could have more time with Mary and Kirsten. One of the greatest joys that our family had was creating a wedding space in our driveway during COVID, so Mary and Kirsten could be wed on July 3rd, 2020. Ayla decorated the yard, Max played music, and I officiated. And the neighborhood turned out in appropriate, safe space to watch this beautiful ceremony. And at Mary and Kirsten's invitation, everyone was there to share in their joy. It will always be how I remember Mary, with a smile so big, looking so lovingly at Kirsten, so full of happiness and so full of joy. And for anyone who's been around the Buffalo UU for the past 23 years, You can feel that same joy in and from Mary. In fact, I invite everybody here right now, just take a moment. Think about Mary. Hold an image or feeling about her and how you have known her, and let the enormity of all of our collective energy fill this church, just as Mary filled our lives. I invite you to find hymn number 86 in your hymnal. Lucas is going to play us through the first couple of bars, and then I invite you to rise in body or spirit as you be willing or able, and join us in singing. Please be seated. The following is a reading from Henry Scott Holland. Death is nothing at all. It does not count. I have only slipped away into the next room. Nothing has happened. Everything remains exactly as it was. I am I, and you are you. And the old life that we lived so fondly together is untouched, unchanged. Whatever we were to each other, that we are still. Call me by my old familiar name. Speak of me in the easy way which you always used. Put no difference in your tone. Wear no forced air of solemnity or sorrow. Laugh as we always laughed at the little jokes that we enjoyed together. Play, smile, think of me, pray for me. Let my name be ever the household word that it always was. Let it be spoken without an effort, without the ghost of a shadow upon it. Life means all it ever meant. It is the same as it ever was. There is absolute and unbroken continuity. What is this death but a negligible accident? Why should I be out of mind because I am out of sight? I am but waiting for you, for an interval, somewhere very near, just around the corner. All is well, nothing is hurt, nothing is lost. One brief moment, and all will be as it was before. How we shall laugh at the trouble of parting when we meet again. And those are the words of Henry Scott Holland. And now Max Goldhirsch is going to share some music with us. Thank you, Max. If you would join me in a spirit of prayer. Spirit of life, God of love, Mother, Father, energy of the universe, it is a blessing to love and to know a life filled with service, care, and dedication. May all of us who've been touched by the gift of Mary know what a precious thing that is, and that it holds a responsibility to the world to pass on that goodness to others, which was the way that Mary was. In the tradition of Mary's faith root, please join me in reciting the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen and amen. Hymn number 6, Just As Long As I Have Breath. I invite you to find that in your songbook. Again, Lucas will play us in, and I invite you to rise in body or spirit as you be able and join in song. As long as I have breath, I must answer yes to life. Though with pain I made my way, still with hope come and extinguish the chalice. And if everyone else would still stay standing as you are able, we will recite the chalice extinguishing words together. As we extinguish the flame of this chalice, may we carry its light with us into the world in the power of peace, faith, justice, and love. Please be seated. As we conclude this celebration of Mary's life, we hold the love and glow of energy from a life well lived and the gifts each of us hold from having known Mary. We surround Kirsten with that affection as we comfort her and support her. And to Mary, we commend her spirit to heaven, where she is greeted by the God she has loved her whole life, and from whom she no doubt heard the words that we find in Matthew 25, sentence 23, "Well done, good and faithful servant." And now Lucas is going to play postlude for us. Thank you, Lucas. Thank you to Max for your music today. Thank all of you for being here. And we invite you to come join us in the fellowship hall for memories and stories of Mary. And of course, since Christmas was her favorite time, Christmas cookies. Thank you again for being here. Peace on your journey home.